Ukraine tensions, Russia invasion could begin any day, US warns.
The Russians are in a position to be able to mount a major military action in Ukraine any day now. And for that reason, we believe that it is important for us to communicate to our allies and partners, to the Ukrainians, and to the American citizens who are still there. I want to be crystal clear, though. We are not saying that a decision has been taken, a final decision has been taken by President Putin. What we are saying is that we have a sufficient level of concern based on what we are seeing on the ground and what our intelligence analysts have picked up, that we are sending this clear message. And it remains a message that we have now been sending for some time. And it is, yes, it is an urgent message because we are in an urgent situation.
But just to clarify, so you now believe that Russia has all the forces it needs to mount a full-scale invasion of Ukraine?
What I'm saying is that Russia has all the forces it needs to conduct a major military action. I'm not sure exactly what you mean by, quote, full-scale invasion, but Russia could choose in very short order to commence a major military action against you.
Russia has the troops in place to invade Ukraine at any time, and American citizens should leave within the next 48 hours, the US has warned. An invasion could start with aerial bombing that would make departures difficult and endanger civilians, the White House said on Friday. A host of other countries have also urged their nationals to leave Ukraine. Russia has repeatedly denied any plans to invade Ukraine despite massing more than 100,000 troops near the border. U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said Russian forces were now in a position to be able to mount a major military action and urged American citizens in Ukraine to leave as soon as possible in remarks seen as a clear escalation in the urgency of warnings from U.S. officials. "We obviously cannot predict the future, we don't know exactly what is going to happen, but the risk is now high enough and the threat is now immediate enough that leaving is prudent," he said. Mr. Sullivan added that the administration did not know if Russian President Vladimir Putin had made a final decision to invade, but said that the Kremlin was looking for a pretext to justify military action, which he said could start with intense aerial bombardment. Earlier, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said new Russian forces had arrived at the border in what he described as very troubling signs of Russian escalation. "We're in a window when an invasion could begin at any time, and to be clear, that includes during the Olympics, which end on the 20th of February, Mr. Blinken said. President Biden has said that he would not send any troops to rescue any citizens left stranded in the event of Russian action. Moscow has begun massive military drills with neighboring Belarus, and Ukraine has accused Russia of blocking its access to the sea. The Kremlin says it wants to enforce red lines to make sure that its former Soviet neighbor does not join NATO. On Friday, NATO Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg said the bloc was united and prepared for any scenario. John Host, U.S. ambassador to Ukraine between 2003 and 2006, said that despite the U.S. government's warnings, he believes a full-scale Russian invasion of Ukraine remains unlikely. Among other countries calling on citizens to leave are the UK, the Netherlands, Latvia, Japan and South Korea. The British Foreign Office said all UK nationals should leave now while commercial means are still available. In its warning, Latvia cited a serious threat to security posed by Russia. Earlier on Friday, UK Defence Secretary Ben Wallace warned his counterpart in Moscow that a Russian invasion of Ukraine would have tragic consequences for both countries. But Sergei Shoigu said growing military tensions in Europe were not our fault. The current tensions come 8 years after Russia annexed Ukraine's southern Crimea Peninsula. Since then, Ukraine's military has been locked in a war with Russian-backed rebels in eastern areas near Russia's borders. Russian naval drills took place in Crimea on Friday, while 10 days of military exercises continued in Belarus, to the north of Ukraine. There are fears that if Russia tries to invade Ukraine, the exercises put the Russian military close to the Ukrainian capital, Kiev, making an attack on the city easier. Russia says its troops will return to their permanent bases after the drills end.